Hello folks, this is Steve AB for you. Nothing in this episode is a promotion, nor is it a recommendation. I want to show you something that I noticed as I was reading along. So I have a /.org tab in my browser and it's news for nerds. I'm a nerd. So right now, the number one headline there is FAA, Federal Aviation Authority, FAA investigating how counterfeit titanium got into Boeing and Airbus jets. I'm going to do something. SR-71 Blackbird, that's spy plane. Titanium. EngineeredLabs.com, products SR-71 titanium. Look here, was the SR-71, in case you don't know what it is, okay? The SR-71 was engineered by Lockheed and the Skunk Works division to be a long-range reconnaissance jet capable of flying at an altitude of 85,000 feet. What metal was the SR-71 made of? Only about 85% of the manufactured SR-71 was made from titanium. And the titanium was used mostly on components that were exposed to the highest temperature. The other 15% of the aircraft was made from polymer composite materials. Why would they do that? To try to save weight. Why would they try to save? Oh, the empty weight of an SR-71 Blackbird was 59,000 pounds, about 30 tons. If they had made it from aluminum, flight temperatures. There's something called the SR-71Blackbird.com. On most aircraft, the use of titanium was limited by the costs involved. Now you think I'm straying off the subject, but I'm using this as a reference so that you'll understand what's next. On most aircraft, the use of titanium was limited by the costs involved, so it's expensive. Expensive to buy the titanium and expensive to work it meteorologically and mechanically. It's not aluminum. It was generally only used in components exposed to the highest temperatures, such as exhaust fairings and leading edges of wings. Why would they need it on the leading edges of wings? To control costs, Lockheed used a more easily worked titanium alloy which softened at a lower temperature. The challenges posed led Lockheed to develop a new fabrication methods which have since been used in the manufacture of other aircraft. They found that washing welded titanium required distilled water, as chlorine present in the tap water was corrosive. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Meteorological contamination was another problem. At one point, 80% of the delivered titanium for manufacture was rejected on those grounds. The highest temperatures generated in flight required special design and operating techniques. And then they go into more. But did you get that last? This is the first time I'm reading this article, and it fits right in with what I'm going to say. Lockheed is building these secret airplanes to fly higher than anybody can reach and faster than anybody can chase, including missiles, to go spy on who? USSR and whomever. Key sentence here, I've never read this before. Metallurgical contamination was another problem. At one point, 80% of the delivered titanium for the SR-71s for manufacture was rejected on those grounds. The SR-71 Blackbird is a retired long-range high-altitude Mach 3 plus strategic reconnaissance aircraft developed and manufactured by Lockheed. First flight, December 1964. Actually introduced 1966. Currently retired. Here's one over California in 1994. Now, why did I go off on this? It's lucky I did. What was the main problem that they experienced making the titanium parts of that airplane? The titanium was fake. No, it wasn't fake. It wasn't what they needed in terms of purity. So that means contaminants in the titanium that was delivered interfered with the performance of the parts that it would be made into at Mach 3, which is 3 plus. I don't think they ever said how fast it really could go. That is, it would be glowing red, white. It was so hot, even at 80,000 feet in thin atmosphere. Okay, let's get back to this. You see, I'm old, and a lot of things are written now that's only in the present tense. The people who were writing them weren't alive when I was alive and heard about the SR-71 for the first time. FAA investigating how counterfeit titanium got into Boeing and Airbus jets. Titanium that was distributed with fake documentation has been found in commercial Boeing and Airbus jets, reports CNN. So they want to. So the FAA is saying, okay, what parts aren't the kind of titanium we need, and are they going to cause a failure in flight? The New York Times reported on Friday a parts supplier, somebody who's making a part for the Boeing and Airbus, using titanium. A parts supplier found small holes in the material from corrosion. That means the titanium, presumably it was titanium, had other stuff in it that made it corrode and potentially unsuitable for what the part was meant to do long term in the commercial airliner carrying hundreds of passengers. The SR-71, I think, only had 2 people flying it. But you notice, and I didn't read that before, you notice the article goes right to most of the titanium in those days wasn't good enough. In other words, they were learning how to refine it to high purity back in the 1960s. So you've got to presume that how to do it is well known now, supposedly. So I'm reading down this article from Yahoo, and I noticed something. Now let me show you what I noticed. I'm not going to read the whole article to you. Some recently manufactured Boeing and Airbus jets have components made from titanium that was sold using fake documentation verifying the material's authenticity. What would the documentation be about? Among other things, it would specify that it was a certain kind of titanium if it were alloy. It would definitely have a specification as to how many and what impurities it would have. It would probably refer to a well-established manufacturing protocol, metallurgical protocol. See, that's why we went over to what they were doing in the 1960s, figuring it out for the SR-71 Blackbird. How to do it. Because nobody really knew how to do it. But should that be true now? The falsified documents are being investigated by Spirit Aerosystems. They build the bodies, which supplies fuselages for Boeing and wings for Airbus, as well as the Federal Aviation Union. The investigation comes after a parts supplier found small holes in the material, and the holes were from corrosion. Okay. So Boeing has reported this right away to the FAA. Then the article goes into the recent woes of Boeing with failing parts and bad inspection and fake inspections during the manufacturing process. Now it says Spirit is trying to, these are the people who build the bodies and the wings. Spirit is trying to determine where the titanium came from, whether it meets proper standards despite phony documentation. Well, we know it doesn't because it's got corrosion. And whether the parts made from the material are structurally sound enough to hold up through the projected lifespans of the jets that it's gone into already. This is about documents that have been falsified, forged, and counterfeited, said a Spirit spokesman. Once we realized the counterfeit titanium, they didn't say it wasn't titanium. The question is whether it's the titanium they thought they were buying. Required titanium type. Once we realized the counterfeit titanium made its way into the supply chain, we immediately Okay, so I'm reading a little further. Talking about it's an industry-wide problem, Numerous tests have been performed on parts coming from the same source of supply. The European Union Aviation Safety Agency did not respond so Airbus is Europe, Boeing is the United States. The problem illustrates the complex global supply chain used in producing modern jetliners, or anything else. Your computer, your smartphone, your telephone, your clothing, half of the food you eat. And the story of what appears to have gone wrong involves companies in, now notice the order of the author used, China, Italy, Turkey, and the United States. We already have heard the name of two American companies, Boeing and Spirit. What appears to have gone wrong involves companies in China, Italy, Turkey, and the United States. We already know the names. I'm repeating for a reason. The names of the companies in the United States. Watch. The issue appears to date to 2019 when a Turkish material supplier, Turkish Aerospace Industries, purchased a batch of titanium from a supplier in China, according to people familiar with the issue. The Turkish company then sold Wikipedia, Turkish Aerospace Industries. If you can read Turkish, don't know what that is. This looks, oh, here's the proper emblem, Turkish Aerospace. There's their website. Get their newsletter. They've got an Turkish Aerospace focuses on design, development, modernization, manufacturing, integration, and life cycle support of integrated aerospace systems from fixed and rotary wing platforms to UAVs and satellites. It was established on June 28, 1973. Okay, that you can go and read more. News and events. Publication on the prediction of the in-plane permeability and air evacuation time of a fiber-placed TCP preforms. Sounds real technical to me. But over here, Turkish Aerospace Industries, we can go and read it on Wikipedia. You see the symbol here? So the point is, it says that on August 15, 1925, the Turkish Aircraft and Engine Limited Company, and they say it in Turkish, factory was founded in a certain place in Turkey. Now, is this a modern company or is this kind of primitive? Is Turkey modern or is it backward? Some countries in the world are very backward, like Eritrea, one of the least developed countries in the world. That's in Africa. Now, Turkey. This company's experience includes the licensed production of General Dynamics F-16 fighting Falcon jets. Oh! Does that sound like they're backwards and don't know what they're doing? Or does it sound like they're not quite in a position to develop as advanced a fighter as that, which is already, 20 years old? But they know how to make them under license because they've got all the diagrams and everything from the original manufacturer in the United States, and the United States government has given them permission, and then they resell these to countries that may not want to deal directly with, well, no, they sell them to air forces that are not quite as up to date as the one in the United States, and the United States doesn't want to spend its time trying to make jet that are 20 years out of date, so they farm them out to Turkey, and Turkey can do it. Electronic warfare retrofit and structural modifications of the Turkish F-16s. Modifications for the Royal Jordanian Air Force F-16s. Modifications for the F-16s for the Pakistan Air Force. You see the kind of, it's what you call a secondary market. And it goes on, and it talks about Eurocopters, glass cockpit retrofits on S-70 helicopters, conversion of B-737-100, avionics modernization of C-130. C-130s are United States, but we've sold those transport planes to a lot of people. Participation in the design and development of the A-400M military transport and tanker aircraft. Avionics modernization of T-38 aircraft. Those are trainer aircraft. Your pilots learned it. So it doesn't sound like they're cutting edge, but it doesn't sound like they're stupid. And it names who they are. Let's go back to the article. In that, Turkish aircraft industries purchased a batch of titanium from a supplier in China. Let's go down to the next one. In December 2023, an Italian company that bought the titanium from the Turkish aerospace industries noticed that the material looked different from that the company typically gets. Somebody was looking at it and says, you know, this doesn't look like the stuff we've been getting from this company in Turkey. What was the name of the Italian company? It's right here. The company is called Titanium International Group. Oh, they specialize in that. The company, Titanium International Group, also found that the certificates that came with the titanium from the Turkish company who bought it in China seemed inauthentic. So let's look at Titanium International Group. Oh, they got a website. Oh, look at this. That's their building in Emilia-Romagna, Italy. Look at all the cars out there. All these buildings here is some kind of industrial park, and there's room for more expansion if you want to build some more. Doesn't look very backward to me. Well, they've got a website. And we can go right there and they know I speak English. And it isn't going to, oh, I have to reject all. And then TIG, Titanium International Group, excellence in every sector, focus on quality and reliability since 1999. I can see some titanium ingots. They're showing you stuff, right? Our proven capabilities. Looks modern to me. We are a leading European supplier of titanium, nickel-based alloys, and aerospace materials addressed to high-end markets. People who have the money to buy because this stuff is expensive. Since 1999, TIG has been improving its capabilities, achieving an integrated quality system. Oh, they're the ones that noticed that the certificates they got from the Turks were bullshit, but somehow the Turks didn't notice it. And getting 15 OEM qualifications every day, we strive to ensure our customers the best service in terms of material quality. The metal we sell you is what we say. And we know how to get or make and modify what you, so that you can get what you need. Timely delivery, service, and technical support. Recent day, TIG has 4 flow water jet and 3 Armada machines. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what that is. Ultrasonic testing level 2 and it's got the standards right there. Here's another standard, CNC machines. They can make parts from the titanium ingots. That's computer-driven machining. So they're up to date. So let's go back to the article. The American companies have been named. The Turkish company was named. The Italian company was named. What company wasn't named? Which is the whole point of what I'm going through this for. Now I'm talking about something about the way this article was written. Purchased a batch of titanium from a supplier in China. Did it name the company? Do the companies in China have a name? Do they? They named the Italian company. They named the Turkish company. They named the American companies. How come they're not naming the China company? What do you think? Now, we are looking on Yahoo News, but this is the article from the New York Times. And it's somebody named Mark Walker, and this was published on June 14th, and right now it's June 16th. And they go on to quote this Italian guy who's a general manager for TIG. People familiar with the situation said it appears that an employee at the Chinese company that sold the titanium had forged the details on the certificates. They still... Oh, wait a minute! Writing that the material came from another Chinese company called Let's see if it comes up. Efficient production, reliable quality, extensive market, innovative R&D, advanced testing. You notice the airplanes. Quality control. That's the name of the company. They're giving you an example of the documentation. So now we know the supposed original source of the titanium. Notice how I say that. I have to say it that way. People familiar with the situation said it appeared that an employee at the Chinese company that sold the titanium, the middleman, unnamed company, had forged the details on the certificates, writing that the material came from another Chinese company. And they named the company whose name was forged on the documents. So I showed you the certificate that the Chinese company, that one, shows you what they'll give you for the documentation. It's right there on their website. I'll bet they didn't put it up just because of this. So there was some kind of, what, middleman in there? Yeah, those people there at that original company don't speak Italian. I know how to speak Italian even though I'm Chinese. I'll deal with you. Oh no, I know how to speak Turkish. Excuse me. The Turks sold it to the Italians. See, this is what they mean by complicated worldwide supply chain. Came from another Chinese company, and they name it, and they've got a website, and they're proud about their quality, and they're a firm that often supplies verified titanium. And that company later confirmed that it had not supplied the titanium. So the origin of the titanium remains unclear. Are you getting the point about this article yet? They name everybody except the guy who was the crook, presumed crook, alleged crook. Why are they doing that? Why aren't they just naming it outright? Yeah, I've gone through all of this. I want to get it across. Why aren't they saying the name? Are they afraid to get sued? Does it say that the Chinese government is investigating? Everybody's working to find out where that crap stuff got into, but nobody is naming who that guy was that sold him the shit with the fake docs. Why? 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 I don't think it was it a fly-by-night? Or is it known that that unnamed company has got connections to somebody they don't want to say out loud? I have no idea. But as I read through all of this, I'm looking at it and I see that they name every company except that one. And it isn't because it's in China, because they name a Chinese company. This is going to be a big deal when it's finished. That's my prediction. This is going to be a big deal when this is finished. When we find out who was actually involved, if they ever allow us to know. Steve A.B.4, now remember, I'm a complete idiot. I'm sitting here, I'm reading this stuff on Bleeping Computer, I read this stuff on Slashdot, I read this stuff on Yahoo, I read the... I'm just an idiot. Having fun. Saying see you with W3.